Confidence isn't just a feeling, it's a neurochemical cascade, a rewiring of neural pathways forged through deliberate, repeatable actions. And if you've ever wondered why some people radiate unshakable self-assurance while others hesitate, the answer lies in their daily habits. Today, we dive into 3 science-backed practices that don't just boost confidence, they rebuild your brain for it. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's a circuit, a neural network that gets stronger with use. Think of it like a muscle. The more you engage it, the more efficient. At the core of this circuit is the prefrontal cortex, the brain's command center for decision-making and self-assurance, and the basal ganglia, which turns repeated actions into automatic behaviors. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, whether it's speaking up in a meeting, approaching a stranger, or holding eye contact, you're strengthening these pathways. But here's the critical insight. Confidence isn't about never feeling fear. It's about training your brain to override it. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is the key. When you repeatedly expose yourself to situations that demand confidence, your brain starts to recognize them as familiar rather than threatening. This is why Navy SEALs use stress inoculation, controlled exposure to high-pressure scenarios until the nervous system adapts. You don't need a battlefield to apply this. Small, consistent challenges, like initiating conversations with strangers or practicing assertiveness, trigger the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, a protein that strengthens neural connections. Over time, what once felt daunting becomes second nature. Dopamine plays a crucial role here. Every time you push through discomfort and succeed, your brain rewards itself with a hit of this motivational neurotransmitter. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you act confidently, the more your brain seeks out opportunities to repeat that feeling. But the reverse is also true. Avoidance weakens the circuit. Every time you back down from a challenge, your brain learns that retreat is the safer option, reinforcing anxiety. The takeaway? Confidence is a skill, not a fixed trait. And like any skill, it requires deliberate practice. Start small, commit to one confidence-building action daily, whether it's speaking in a lower tone, standing taller, or holding eye contact. Within weeks, your brain will begin to default to these behaviors without conscious effort. The circuit will have been rewired. The way you carry your body doesn't just reflect your mental state, it directly controls it. Research shows that adopting an expansive posture, shoulders back, chest open, spine straight, triggers an immediate biochemical shift. Within 2 minutes, testosterone levels rise by about 20%, while cortisol, the stress hormone, drops by roughly 15%. This isn't just psychological, it's a hardwired physiological response rooted in our evolutionary biology. Dominant postures in the animal kingdom signal strength and reduce conflict, and humans operate on the same primal neuroendocrine mechanisms. When you stand tall, your brain receives feedback from your muscles and joints, interpreting the position as a signal of control and security. This activates the ventral tegmental area VTA, a key dopamine-producing region, flooding your system with a sense of command and readiness. But the effects go deeper than temporary confidence. Chronic slouching or closed-off body language, like crossing arms or hunching forward, does the opposite. It activates the amygdala, the brain's threat detector, putting you in a subtle but persistent state of defensiveness. Over time, this trains your nervous system to default to hesitation rather than assertiveness. The good news? You can hack this system in real time. Before a high-stakes moment, a presentation, negotiation, or difficult conversation, take just 2 minutes to stand in a power pose. Research from Harvard and Columbia found that participants who did this not only felt more confident, but were also more likely to take risks and perform better under pressure. The posture confidence loop also extends to movement. Walking with purpose, longer strides, steady rhythm, further reinforces this neural programming. Athletes and performers use this deliberately. Boxers stride into the ring with controlled dominance, and CEOs walk onto stages with unhurried certainty. Your gait communicates to your brain before it even reaches an audience. Try this today for just 60 seconds. Stand like someone who owns the room. Notice the shift in your breath, your focus, even your voice. Then carry that posture into your next interaction. The more you practice, the more your baseline state of confidence rises, because your brain is learning at a biological level that you are not prey, you are in control. The human brain is wired to interpret eye contact as one of the most fundamental signals of confidence and social dominance. When you maintain steady, relaxed eye contact, you activate a fascinating neural circuit between your superior colliculus, a midbrain region that processes gaze direction, and your prefrontal cortex, which regulates social behavior. This connection instantly communicates self-assurance both to others and critically back to your own nervous system. Research shows that individuals who habitually avoid eye contact trigger their amygdala's threat response, reinforcing social anxiety in a vicious cycle. But those who train themselves to hold gaze just 2–3 seconds longer than feels comfortable begin rewiring this automatic fear response. In primate studies, dominant members of social groups consistently maintain longer eye contact while subordinates look away first, a dynamic encoded deep in our evolutionary biology. The physiological effects are measurable. Sustained eye contact increases oxytocin release, enhancing feelings of connection while simultaneously elevating your perceived status. This is why world-class negotiators, elite athletes, and successful leaders all share this trait. They've trained their nervous system to remain calm under the perceived pressure of mutual gaze. You can develop the same ability through deliberate practice. Start with low-stakes interactions. Hold eye contact with baristas, colleagues, or even yourself in the mirror just beyond your comfort threshold. Notice how your heart rate may initially spike, then stabilize as your brain learns this isn't a threat. Over time, you'll notice a profound shift. Where you once felt compelled to look away, you'll now naturally maintain connection. The impact extends beyond social perception. fMRI studies reveal that maintaining eye contact during challenging conversations increases activity in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, enhancing emotional control and decision-making. This means that by simply training your gaze, you're not just appearing more confident, you're literally building the neural infrastructure for composure under pressure. The key is progressive overload. Each day, extend your comfortable gaze duration by small increments. Within weeks, what once felt intimidating becomes your new baseline, and your brain automatically interprets eye contact not as a threat, but as an opportunity to demonstrate and feel genuine confidence. Cold exposure is one of the most potent, underutilized tools for building unshakable confidence through physiological hardening. When you voluntarily subject yourself to cold showers or ice baths, you trigger a massive sympathetic nervous system response, your body's equivalent of a stress inoculation protocol. This isn't just about toughening up in some vague, metaphorical sense. We're talking about measurable neurochemical changes that rewire your brain's response to stress. Within just 30 seconds of cold exposure, your brain releases a 250% surge in dopamine that lingers for hours. This is the same reward chemical associated with winning and achievement. Simultaneously, your locus ceruleum, the brain's primary source of noradrenaline, fires at maximum capacity, sharpening focus and mental clarity. What makes this particularly powerful for confidence is that you're demonstrating to your nervous system that you can willingly embrace discomfort and remain in control. The cold also trains your ventral vagal complex, the part of your parasympathetic nervous system that governs calm under pressure. Each time you stay in the cold past your initial panic response, you strengthen this system's ability to down-regulate stress. Navy SEALs use this principle in their training. By repeatedly exposing themselves to controlled stressors, they build what's called stress resilience, the capacity to perform optimally even in high-pressure situations. You can replicate this effect in your daily routine with just 2–3 minutes of cold water at the end of your shower. The key is to focus on steady breathing while maintaining the exposure slightly beyond your comfort threshold. This trains the exact same neural circuits you need when facing social challenges, public speaking, or high-stakes decisions. Over time, this practice creates a profound shift in your baseline state. Your brain begins to associate discomfort not with threat, but with opportunity, the neurological foundation of true confidence. The cold becomes a physical metaphor for life's challenges, at first shocking and overwhelming, but ultimately manageable through deliberate practice. And because these changes occur at the level of your autonomic nervous system, the confidence you build translates seamlessly to completely unrelated areas of your life. You're not just getting better at handling cold, you're fundamentally rewiring your brain's interpretation of and response to all forms of stress. The way you speak doesn't just communicate confidence, it creates it at a biological level through a powerful feedback loop between your voice and your nervous system. When you speak slowly, with deliberate pauses and a slightly deeper tone, you activate the vagus nerve, the body's primary parasympathetic pathway that controls relaxation and social engagement. This triggers an immediate physiological shift. Your heart rate slows, blood pressure stabilizes, and cortisol production decreases. Studies of charismatic leaders reveal they speak approximately 20% slower than average, with a vocal frequency around 125 Hz for men and 220 Hz for women, ranges that unconsciously signal authority. The reverse is equally true. Rushed, high-pitched speech activates the amygdala's threat response, reinforcing anxiety in both speaker and listener. But here's the critical insight: you can hack this system by consciously modulating your speech patterns to induce confidence rather than merely reflect it. The mechanism works through what's called proprioceptive feedback. Your brain constantly monitors your own vocal output and adjusts your emotional state accordingly. MRI studies show that when subjects intentionally lower their vocal pitch, their prefrontal cortex exhibits increased activity while amygdala activity decreases. This is why actors and public speakers train extensively in vocal control. They're not just projecting to an audience, they're programming their own nervous system for composure. Start by recording yourself speaking for 30 seconds daily, then analyze 3 elements: pace, aim for 160 words per minute, pitch, lower your natural tone by about 10%, and pause, frequency, insert 1-2 second breaks between thoughts. Within weeks, this practice rewires your default vocal patterns, making authoritative speech an automatic behavior rather than a conscious effort. The benefits compound when combined with breath control. Diaphragmatic breathing, where your stomach expands on inhalation, increases vocal resonance while further stimulating vagus nerve activity. Ancient practices like mantra chanting and modern techniques like neurofeedback training both exploit this vocal autonomic connection. As your voice becomes a tool for nervous system regulation rather than just communication, you'll notice a profound shift. Social interactions feel less threatening, presentations flow more naturally, and your baseline state of confidence rises. The voice isn't just an instrument for expression, it's a biological lever for reshaping your brain's perception of itself. The 21-day neuroplasticity rule isn't just pop psychology. It's rooted in the biological timeline your brain requires to rewire automatic behaviors at the basal ganglia level. This deep brain structure operates as your habit headquarters, converting repeated conscious actions into unconscious competence through a process called long-term potentiation. Every time you practice a confidence-building behavior, whether power posing, vocal modulation, or cold exposure, you're strengthening specific neural pathways while allowing weaker, self-doubting connections to prune away. But the critical insight lies in the biochemical cadence of this process. Dopamine and acetylcholine must tag team to mark which neural circuits deserve reinforcement. For the first 7 days, you're fighting against existing patterns. Your prefrontal cortex works overtime to maintain conscious control. Days 8-14 see the emergence of competing pathways as myelin starts insulating the new circuits. By day 21, if you've maintained consistent daily practice, the behavior begins transitioning to automaticity as the basal ganglia takes over from conscious effort. What makes this timeline particularly powerful for confidence building is the compounding effect of neurochemical reinforcement. Each successful repetition triggers a micro-release of dopamine that not only rewards the behavior, but also increases the speed of signal transmission along that neural pathway. Simultaneously, acetylcholine acts as a highlighter for synapses to preserve, creating a physical record of your progress at the cellular level. This explains why people who commit to 21-day challenges often report breakthrough moments around day 17. Their brain has literally built enough infrastructure for the new behavior to become self-sustaining. The key is maintaining absolute consistency during the initial phase. Skipping even a single day disrupts the delicate neurochemical sequencing required for durable change. Practical application turns this science into results. Choose one confidence behavior, say maintaining eye contact, and create a measurable daily practice. For example, holding gaze 2 seconds longer in every conversation. Track it religiously for 21 days while consciously associating each success with a positive emotional reward. The magic happens when you reach day 22 and realize the behavior now feels unnatural not to do. Your basal ganglia has officially repatterned your default setting. This isn't about temporary motivation, it's about permanently upgrading your neural operating system to make confidence your autonomic response rather than a conscious struggle. The 21-day marker simply reflects the minimum biological requirement for cortical restructuring. Continue beyond this point and the behavior becomes ingrained at an identity level.